Okay, we're going to be entering the longest segment of this film. It's probably going to be pretty continuous. All right, so here we go. We all know these things here. These are magnesium blocks. All right. I've had this one for a very long time. I've had this one for probably 30 years. I've used it, not very often, because once again, it's an emergency thing. I go prepared. I have plenty of matches or my lighter. But this will work if it's wet, snowing, blowing, whatever. You're going to get sparks off these, right? This is the one in my bug out bag. I have a whistle attached to it. My uncle was a policeman for many years. This was his traffic whistle right here from back in the 50s and 60s. This was his traffic whistle. And I just threw this little bitty screwdriver on there just for S&Gs. Okay. Magnifying glass. Can't go wrong with a burning glass unless it's cloudy. Alright, if it's cloudy, what can you do? But if you're out in the woods or the field like this, you got a burning glass, you can get a fire going. Alright? Tinder. Yes, you've all heard it. Dryer lint. Dryer lint's good tinder. Alright, so we take our makeshift stove, throw a little dryer lint on that. Here we go. Fire. Ooh, fire. Well, now you have glowing coals. You can set other things on fire if you need to. Okay, let's get rid of that. Fire. You got your lighter fluid. You can set stuff on fire. I haven't even used the magnesium yet. Alright. So, U.S. military issue magnesium bar with striking rod. Just a gun show. I think I paid like $5 for this a long time ago. Once again, magnesium bar, striking rod on top, and an old piece of hacksaw blade as your striker. You got fire. Burning glass or magnifying glass. Pocket magnifier. Once again, I got these at a gun show. I got these, they were $4 for $1. These are the magnifying glasses. Okay, so now got my box of stuff. All right. Bunch of stuff right here. Okay. This is from the Second World War. It's called the foxhole lighter. I was lucky to go to a swap meet and I got 4 or 5 of these for like $10. Inside this, and I had to inside this is just this striker, and it has a piece of match cord like they use in the old matchlock guns. This cord is impregnated with sodium nitrate. It had a little glass bottle with a cork in it of flints. It had an extra wick, and what you do is you pull the wick up like thusly, exposing it to the flint wheel, and you strike it, Now, it's supposed to what it's supposed to do is, so you don't have a light at night to light your smoke. But let me tell you, I've done this in the dark. There we go. And it sets this on fire. It's a pain. It's a pain. But it's better than no fire. And when you pull it closed, it extinguishes itself. Don't recommend it in a survival situation, but if this is your only way of making fire, if you come across one of these, that's how it works. You unscrew this, you put your little flint in here, you tighten it up, strike the wheel. Okay, foxhole lighter from the Second World War. I actually have one in my World War II reenactors kit, and I've actually used the other one quite a bit. Okay, different kinds of fuels. I got these at a Smart & Final. Out here in California, it's a store that supplies restaurants. Bought a whole bunch of these. They're like little candle wicks, oil lamp things. I got a wing stove. You can set that on there and set a pot up here. It'll burn. Acts as a little candle if you need a little candle. Kind of like a tea light. A little fragile. If you're car camping, they're fine. Put them in a Tupperware, they're fine. Candle. Oh man, do people underestimate these? This will provide enough light in the tent to find something you need. Rub it on a leaky seam on a shoe. Okay? Wax some thread if you're going to sew. Pre-wax the thread. It'll help you get that thread through thick material or shoe leather, or if you got to sew a tent. If you got a leaking seam in a tent, light the end, get it soft, rub the seam. Okay? I mean, you can't break it. It doesn't take batteries. It works when you light it. Don't underestimate the value of a simple candle. Candles are good. Okay, I got this little wing stove at a surplus store. I think it was 50 cents. And it came with a bunch of these. These fuel tablets. You put it here, set your cup on top, light them on fire. You're heating water. In still air, they work fine. It takes a couple of tablets to take the chill off a cup of water. You can make a little windbreak around it using wood or stones. They were issued to the United States Army in the Second World War. Don't use them inside your tent. This hexamine fuel is getting really difficult to come by. I was lucky about a year ago. I bought 50 of these tubes on eBay for 10 bucks. You can find them if you look, but they're pretty pricey now. I'm just mentioning this because you will come across these, all right? When you're going to surplus stores and stuff like that, nothing wrong with it. Okay, it doesn't fit. And it folds up, right? You can put it in your bag or your backpack or whatever. Modern version. Triox fuel. Boy, does this put out an eye-burning vapor. Used heavily in Vietnam and up until pretty recently. Now they have chemical heaters for your rations. You open it up. I usually cut it with a knife, open this up, lie it on the ground, make a little stove out of stones, set your thing on top, and it'll heat your mess kit. It'll heat your cup. It'll heat whatever you pretty much want. These are still relatively inexpensive. I got a bunch of them. Once again, I got them on eBay. They still sell them at surplus stores. The little Esbit stoves that unfold, I don't have one, but if you had one, these fit right in there. And there's an aluminum canteen stove. There's a little airplane flying overhead right now, towing a sign. I'll be right back. Okay, the little airplane towing the sign telling me to watch the Olympics has gone by. I'll get right on the Olympics watching here any minute. Anyway, back to this. There's a canteen cup heater that's shaped like your canteen. You put this underneath it and heat your food. You can also use these as fire starters. If you need to start a fire, put your tinder under there. Get your striker or a match, light it, and they'll burn, and they'll start your fire. Okay. You want to make sure that these aluminum things stay intact, because let me tell you, if they crack or pop open, the stuff inside turns to an eye-watering, stinging dust, which you don't want. All right. Here we go. Sterno. Alright, I have a couple of Sterno stoves. You slide this in. We're going to talk about stoves later, but you can scoop this material out and put it on your damp tinder and it'll set it on fire. But you got to carry this can around. If you're car camping, it's not that big of a deal. You're not going to take it backpacking or hiking. It's just too big. They make little ones. They have a shelf life. It says this can burns for 2 hours. Well, this can isn't going to burn for 2 seconds because this is dried completely out. As a matter of fact, I've never opened it. We're going to open it and see what the inside looks like. There's nothing in there. It's been sitting in my garage for a couple of years. It is totally exhausted. Here's where the quality thing I was talking about earlier, about the knives, saying that things made a long time ago would be considered low quality or high quality today. This is a K-ration heater from the Second World War. Inside are layers of cardboard filled with alcohol. It still sloshes. I can tell you right now that if I opened this up, it would still be good. I think this was made close to 70 years ago, maybe 80, and it's still good. I have like 6 of these. You pop them open, and you would take rocks and put your C ration can on top of it and heat your C rations, or your K rations in World War II. Pry lid to remove cover and light. There you go. That's the instructions. Solo company, you did a good job. This is still good. Last but not least, on Survivor Man, if you need the carry flame, this will work. There you go. Cigars. I have this World War II ointment tin. I have a box of cigars in there. Right? Light a cigar. You can walk with it. He pinned it to his backpack, and the forward movement of hiking was enough to keep the cigar lit from campsite to campsite. These little cigars will stay lit for about a half an hour with that casual breeze blowing on them. Make sure you have it so the cigar is facing the direction of travel, so the breeze blowing across the cigar keeps it lit. All right? This was tubes of eye ointment, I guess for anti-gas. Protective eye ointment. Protection against exposure to blister gas vapor. Right here, eye ointment. Right here, keep away from eyes. The government has not changed since the Second World War. Well, thanks for joining me on this episode 2. Upcoming episodes will cover camping stoves, backpacking stoves. Once again, all bought thrift stores, yard sales, bought them on the cheap, different camping stoves. We're going to cover flashlights. Once again, thrift store, yard sales. I do have one really good flashlight I purchased at the gun show. It's the most expensive flashlight I've ever bought. It was 20 bucks. All the other flashlights, I don't think I paid $6, $7 for tops. Less, dollar. And in the future, we'll also cover camping clothing and things like that. Thanks for joining me. Have fun camping. Be safe. Okay, and this is since it's episode 1. I'm going to cover this real quick. This book is called The Complete Book of Camping, and this issue's from 1961. All right, this has got to be one of the best camping books you will ever come across right here. All right, Leonard Marcel, all right, with Maurice Decker right here. This book covers an enormous amount of things about camping. It talks about hatches. It talks about knives. It talks about stoves. It talks about clothes. It talks about air mattresses and sleeping bags. It talks about an enormous amount of stuff. It talks about cooking, canoes, backpacks, what you need to be comfortable, different types of trailers, different types of tents. It talks about magnifying glasses, how to make fire with firearms, naturally water, how to purify things, even first aid, like right here, first aid right here, CPR, and it has a list, how to tie knots, how to make teepees, and it has a list of campgrounds. Now, I know the book is from 1961, but a lot of these places still exist. A lot of these campgrounds and all these things are still there. Maybe the phone numbers aren't good, but we live in the computer age, and you can look them up right here. This book is available on eBay and Amazon for they wrote this. They kept this book was in print until the 70s. This book is so advanced that in 1961 they were talking about down jackets, down bags, thermal socks, thermal pants. They were talking about dome tents, down-filled nylon sleeping bags. Everything that's state-of-the-art today, he was discussing in 1961. This book is outstanding. If anybody's going to do real camping, buy this book. I've seen it, like I said, on Amazon and eBay for $4. You cannot go wrong. I carry this book with me a lot of times when I camp. And a lot of this stuff he talks about. The multi-blade knife, just like we were discussing earlier. Right, there you go. Right, 2 of these type of knives I discussed. Camp saw, folding backpack saw, the bow saw, the wire saw. Right, how to cut wood properly so you don't cut your foot off. Personal items. Even stuff for smokers. A little teeny paragraph here. You know what? I'm not judgmental. If you're going to go camping and you smoke, bring the stuff you need to be comfortable. Bring the stuff to read and write with if you like to write poetry or read books. There's nothing wrong with poetry. There's nothing wrong with fine literature when you're camping. When Theodore Roosevelt had his ranch in North Dakota, during the winter months, they would sit around inside the big house, the main house, while the wind was raging outside, and he would read his illiterate ranch hands Shakespeare, and they appreciated it. So don't let anybody give you a hard time about what you like to read or if you like to write poetry. Nothing wrong with that. All right, folks? Complete Book of Camping, 1961. And remember, was that Leonard Miracle? Anyway, right there, Leonard Miracle. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching. My next installment will probably be all about fire. It'll be a lot shorter.